Hey everybody, so this is a lesson that basically will get you caught up on notes if you happen to miss one of our Zoom sessions from last Thursday or today. We've been discussing cube roots, and if you remember, a cube root of a number is one of its three equal factors. So if, for example, x to the third equals y, then the cube root of y is equal to x because it's whatever number multiplied by itself 3 times gives me the value underneath the radical. So if you look at this, like 2 to the third is equal to 8. So 2 is the cube root of 8. And then since negative 6 to the third equals negative 216, 6 is the cube root of negative 216. So unlike square roots, you are able to have a negative number as your answer for a cube root. Okay. So the only thing you need to fill in here is the word cube root on slide 1. On slide 2, this one would take you a little bit longer to do, but when you are looking at a perfect cube, you should always ask, what number multiplied by itself gives me the number underneath the radical? So what number multiplied by itself gives me 1? Well, that one's pretty easy. That one's 1. But let's say you needed to evaluate the cube root of 8. Okay, you could either think as to, what number times itself 3 times gives me 8, or you could use your calculator to do that, and it's pretty simple to enter. This is your cube root key, so you're going to click there. See how that's flashing outside? You enter the 3 right there, and then 8 is your answer, and as you can see over here, the cube root is 2. Okay, so there's how you would find that particular answer. So what you're going to do for slide 2 is evaluate each and every last one of these cube roots. Okay, so again, like if you're going to do the cube root of 27, or if you want, I'll bump up here. Let's do the cube root of 5,832. So one last time on that, I'm going to bring up the nth root, and I'm taking the cube root of, we had 5,832. So 5,832, and we find that is equal to 18. So you would need to complete the rest of this table for all of these. And I made a error right there. The cube root of 8 is not 8, it's 2. Should have typed 2 in there. So sorry about that. All right, on here. So anytime you're taking a cube root of a positive number, your answer is positive. So if you're looking for the cube root of, say, 27, okay, cube root of 27, I'm just going to go here and hit enter. And then I'll do the cube root of 27, and my answer is 3. So anytime I'm taking the cube root of a positive number, my answer will always be positive. Okay? On this one, I can go ahead and give it to you. The cube root of 125 is going to be 5. Okay? 5 times itself, 3 times 125. The cube root of 0 is always 0. And then this is the big one here. Anytime you're taking a cube root of a negative number, your answer will be negative. If you think of it this way, remember that when you're taking the cube root, okay, you're looking for what number multiplies by itself 3 times to give you this answer. Well, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. But here, I'm asked for the cube root of negative 27. So if you think about it, it would be more like negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 gives me negative 27. So again, unlike square roots, the cube root of a negative value will have a negative cube root to it. Okay? So that would be, what we want you to take away from this slide is that cube roots of positive numbers always have a positive root. Cube root of 0 is always 0. And then lastly, the cube root of a negative number will be negative. Okay? On this particular page, you're asked to simplify this cube root of 125. Well, if you think about it, 5 times 5 times 5 is equal to 125. So the cube root of 125 is going to be 5. What you need to do to finish this slide is evaluate each of these cube roots and type your answers in these boxes. Now, once you complete slide 2, one way for you to finish the rest of this is to like go look and see if these are perfect cubes. Like, okay, it's 216. Can I find it? It is here. So once you finish slide 2, you would have your answer here. The other way to do it is always, again, you could possibly grab your calculator and then find the cube root of 216. So the cubic root of 216, whoops, not 2,316, 216. That's 6, so you would type that in, and you'll finish those. Okay, same thing here. In order to simplify the cube root of negative 27, you need to determine what number multiplied 3 times is equal to negative 27. And we kind of covered that earlier, but it's negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Okay? And then your answer would be negative 3. So down here, you'll do the same thing as you did on the previous slide, but your answers will be negative. The last one deals with building equations. These are necessary. You're going to need to learn how to solve them. You'll need to know what you're doing with all the steps, and that's why I built it as such. I'm going to go ahead and solve equation D down here and show you exactly what to do. The first thing you want to do is, the equation is x to the third equals 5,832. So the first thing I'm going to do for any of these equations is I'm going to drag the x to the third underneath the radical so that I can take that cube root. And then from here to enter the number, this blank number box is what I'm going to enter. And I'm going to drag that right down there and drop it. And then I'm going to click and type in there 5,832. So your first step will always be to these two. And then lastly, because it's an equation, you have to have that. Drop that equal sign in there. All right, and then your next step is going to be evaluate the cube roots. Okay, so the cube root of x to the third is always going to give you x, because x times itself 3 times is x to the third. So that's how you got that. And the cube root of that is x. The equal sign comes with you. And then you're going to enter your last answer. And again, from here, you could use the calculator or go to the chart. I'll just go ahead and use the calculator. So I want the cubic root of 5,832. 5,832. And I find that to be 18. And so I click here, and I'm going to enter 18. And that equation is now solved. And then your job will be to solve all the rest of these equations. So once you have typed cube root on slide 1, you have evaluated the first 20 perfect cubic roots on slide 2. Slide 3 I pretty much did for you, so you just need to make sure everything that's on my slide 3 is on your slide 3. Slide 4, you need to update that, and then evaluate these 3 cubic roots. Slide 5, you need to enter exactly what looks like this in that box. You need to have a negative 3 there, and then you need to evaluate these 3 cubic roots. And then for number 6, you need to solve equations A, B, and C, just like I've done down here in equation D. When you've done all that, you can click Submit into Google Classroom, and then I'll get a chance to look it over, and I'll score it. So for anybody, again, that did not attend our Zoom session, thanks for watching this video, and hopefully it'll help you complete your cubic root notes. Thanks. Have a good day.